Prince William has had enough. After weeks of growing reports that the heir to the throne is preparing to thrust Prince Harry and Meghan Markle out of the royal fold for good, this week's revolting slut drop, moon bump, twerking hospital video, however you want to call it, seems to be the final straw for the Prince of Wales. And what's so great about William's annoyance is that he's starting to go public. And this was an unprompted comment from Prince William. He asked a group if their family are okay and if they see them enough before quipping, "Some of them might not want to see you that much. It's a mixed bag sometimes." And Lady Colin Campbell, we know that senior royals choose their words very carefully on these sorts of engagements when they are followed by the royal rota and when they are being filmed on various mobile phones. So I don't think this was a throwaway line from Prince William. He was making, in my view, a clear reference to the ongoing and likely now permanent estrangement from Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. What are you hearing about where Prince William stands on all of this?
Gan, I can only say some of what I've been hearing. I'm afraid I can't say all. So I will limit myself to some of what I know is okay to say. He's disgusted. He never wants to have anything to do with his brother or sister-in-law ever again. He feels it's high time that they and their antics were exposed. And he is eager to have the whole mess brought to a conclusion so that it can then be cleaned up. Now, remember, William and Catherine are both very sound, sane, sensible people. They've never done drugs. They're not drug-addled. They're not raw-chaw, low-down, boogie yaga, as they would say in Jamaica. Which means the lowest of the low in terms of conduct. And, you know, they now, let's stick to William. He now, I am made to understand, feels that the situation is beyond redemption. There is never going to be any possibility of a reconciliation with Meghan ever, and that even if she and Harry should end up parting ways, he has so I'm trying to grope for an acceptable word. Oh, I won't grope, I'll just pussyfoot around it. He thinks that Harry is never going to be able to be reincorporated into the fold, and that Harry has so damaged himself in terms of his credibility and respectability that there is no way back for him ever as an acknowledged, fully paid up member of the royal family. And down the line, should something, but this becomes supposition, and I don't think I'll go into this supposition, but the reality is it's at an end. The whole thing is at an end. William has accepted the fact that I am told that not only should Harry get his comeuppance, but that he will be delighted that to see when Harry and Meghan get their comeuppance, because that only at that point will they cease to continue to do the damage to the royal family and its reputation that they are doing.
Very true.
Sorry, go on.
No, you come on.
No, you go on.
Well, I was just going to say, The thing that's so interesting about this Lady C is that it's come at a time when William's confidence is so clearly building. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're hearing so much more briefing from William's side, because obviously he had the most atrocious year. He was absolutely distraught, trying to balance the children, helping Catherine when she was undergoing her treatment for cancer. She's bounced back. And while obviously things are still incredibly tough for his father, he is coming to... It's a difficult thing, isn't it, when you think about mortality and your parents? But I guess what I'm trying to say is he's had a little bit more time to adjust. And he feels much more confident now that these are decisions that he will soon be having to make.
Well, these are decisions that that the possibilities of circumstance have forced him to confront. And whether it is in 3 years or 7 years or 10 years, it's going to, or let's be generous, even 15 years. The fact of the matter is he has confronted the reality. It's in every relationship there comes a point where you confront the reality. For instance, if you're married and you discover that your husband is cheating on you, or that he might want to leave you, or that he's not in love with you anymore and is looking elsewhere, that's a decisive moment. And Williams had the decisive moment, not only in terms of having to confront Catherine's mortality, but his father's mortality, and what he will have to do, whether it is sooner or later, is beside the point. He is a very responsible, sensible, down-to-earth person. And I understand how he thinks, because I think like that as well. He's very dispassionate, despite being a passionate individual. When he's very dispassionate in coming to the correct decision. And I'm exactly like that, as his mother used to point out to me. And she wanted to know how she could become more like that. Well, William is naturally like that, or his life has made him like that. Diana wasn't like that. But he's faced all sorts of dark moments. So he now understands that exactly what he's dealing with, and that there would come a point, or might come a point, might be a better way of putting it, where he would have to be decisive. And William has shown that when the chips are down, he is decisive in a way that his grandmother was, and his father is not. His father is not decisive in that way. I mean, the Queen is the one who said no half in, no half out. You can't use Sussex Royal. The Queen is the one who, through Garter King of Arms, made Harry and Meghan aware that they could not be half in, half out, that they were not allowed to use Sussex Royal, which of course they'd spent a year doing at vast expense, setting up, trademarking everything, including used sanitary napkins for sale to admirers. And William showed with the Sue Hussey business, Lady Susan Hussey.
Susan Hussey, yes.
Fulani, otherwise known as, more accurately, Marlene Headley. He showed that when the chips are down, he will be decisive, and he will take actions that he might not want to take, and that he might have to then mend fences about thereafter, which indeed he did. But he was very quick to distance himself from any suggestion that any member of the royal household could function in a racist manner. So William has a streak of decisiveness that I actually have as well, I've got to tell you. You know, I will chop you off at the knees if it's what you deserve. And I think, and William does that as well. And so he is in the situation now where he is, I understand, mightily fed up with the ongoing drip, and the escalation from Meghan Markle and Harry going along with it. And so the whole matter has become untenable. And let us see what is going to happen, because I am not going to say more than this now, beyond the fact that I know that there are things happening behind the scenes that have been happening for a while, but that have coalesced recently in a far more decisive way, so that the coalition has brought a hardening, which will hopefully result in certain decisive actions being taken. But we also need to understand that the Harry and Meghan situation is so gross and so grotesque that what the public pays for, some of their demands are not going to be easily satisfied. You know, strip them of their titles is the knee-jerk response by most people. That's not that easily done, but there are other things that are more easily done. And I know some of them are in the process of, let's put it this way, the water's on the boil.
Good, because it needs to be. It needs to be. Lady C, I had to ask, because it was completely overshadowed by the moon bump twerking video, but I had to ask about what you're hearing in regards to As Ever. Because after this extraordinary podcast with Tina Knowles, Beyonce's mum, where she basically tore to pieces Meghan Markle's whole business strategy and this ludicrous thing about stocking a tiny amount of the scam jam and it then all selling out, and Meghan saying, oh, there's not going to be any new product until next year, there was this bizarre reversal where she then the next day posted on her Instagram story that indeed new stock is coming very soon. I mean, the strategy is all over the place. Do you have any idea what she is trying to achieve here?
Well, my understanding is that Netflix, which was partnering her, was not prepared to put in any significant sum of money to create the produce that would be required to be put in stock to fulfill the orders. That's why things were sold out in 45 minutes. And that tells me that the quantities were in the upper hundreds or low thousands, when had there been any confidence that there would be demand, they would have been in the tens of thousands for each item, and up to maybe 100,000. But so the Netflix had also done its research and understood that there was no demand for any of this. So they were not going to invest. Harry and Meghan don't have the money to buy in stock, and so that a fulfillment house would be able to fulfill the orders. So there was that. And my understanding of what's going on is that Meghan is trying to establish links with some of the lower end or medium range fashion houses. She's tried it with the top end to get them to have her as the face, etc. For instance, do you remember when she tried to manipulate Dior into
Yes.
making her like the Charlize Theron of the day. And they said, no interest in you, sweetie pie, but if Harry wants, we'll give him a suit and maybe have him do something. And in fact, they did give him a suit that he wore to where she had on that white dress. I think it's at the cathedral. And so that would have been the Queen's Jubilee event, if I remember correctly. But so she's got the message that no A-listers, no high-end fashionistas, no high-end fashion houses are interested in her. However, she has been approaching, my understanding is, manufacturers in the hope that she can end up maybe having a line of her clothes, which would then be wildly overpriced because, you know, she's delusional. The woman has a massive ego and no discernment and no connection to reality. So my reading and understanding of what's going on is that, say, she's approaching some, I want to keep it vague, Dan, to not nail it down too much, because I don't want my sources to be
of course, but I understand what you're saying. She's
okay.
It's a desperate attempt to get. I don't think it's going to work. I agree, but
she's looking for, say, you know, some house in China that's going to produce $27.99 dresses that she's going to try to sell for $999. Of course, it's not going to happen.
No,
I mean, she might.
No, because the thing is, and she's toxic to these big brands. She's totally toxic to them.
Prince William is reportedly reaching the end of his patience with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Royal commentator Lady Colin Campbell claims William is now deeply frustrated by the Sussexes and believes their actions have caused serious damage to the royal family. She goes even further, claiming William sees little or no possibility of reconciliation with Meghan and believes Harry has damaged his own standing within the royal family. These are claims from a commentator, however, not an official statement from Prince William or Kensington Palace. The speculation intensified after William made an unusual comment while speaking with soldiers. When discussing family, he reportedly joked that families can be a mixed bag and that some relatives might not want to see you very much. It may have been an innocent joke, but given his estrangement from Harry, royal commentators immediately questioned whether there was a hidden message behind it. According to Lady Colin Campbell, William believes the situation with Harry has gone too far. The years of interviews, Harry's memoir, public accusations, and continuing controversy have reportedly destroyed much of the trust between the brothers. And from William's perspective, rebuilding that trust would be extremely difficult. William has also faced enormous personal pressure. Catherine's illness, his father's health, and his responsibilities as future king have forced him to focus heavily on his family and the future of the monarchy. That may explain why commentators believe he is becoming less willing to tolerate continued royal drama. For William, this isn't simply a family argument anymore. He is also thinking about the institution he will eventually lead. Despite the dramatic claims, there has been no official announcement that William has permanently rejected Harry. Family relationships can change, and circumstances can change with them. But reconciliation would require something that appears to be in very short supply right now: trust. Harry would need to rebuild confidence with his family, while William would have to believe that private conversations could remain private. So has Prince William really reached the point of no return with Harry and Meghan? The claims are certainly explosive, but they remain claims rather than confirmed statements from William himself. What do you think? Is the brothers' relationship beyond repair, or could Harry and William eventually reconcile? Let us know in the comments and subscribe for more royal family news and commentary.